another point is alignment is not a destination, right? We are constantly always realigning ourselves. I mean, it's like going to the chiropractor, frankly. I mean, when I started this company, the only people that were in this business were chiropractors and garages, automotive garages. And now alignment has become a little bit more of a business-friendly term because it's very applicable. You don't just get aligned one time and all of a sudden you're aligned forever. You constantly are having to reassess where you're going, how you're going to get there, what the values are, all of the things that we're going to talk about, the questions that you ask to stay aligned. So HP has had some of those challenges because you all have had so many acquisitions of late. I mean, you all are part and parcel of that. You had a different vision perhaps when you were with EDS than you do now that you're with HP, right? Do you think alignment is totally dependent upon the CEO? No? Good. That's the right answer. Because if you look at Apple, for example, Steve Jobs, you know, he's obviously been very ill. He's now stepped down from Apple, right? He did a marvelous job of creating alignment in that company. That company was all about creativity and innovation, right? Now he's leaving. Do you think that that company's going to stay aligned? Yes. Why? Habits he formed? Built up process and procedures that keep people kind of marching in the same area.
Plus he had success. I think that was the biggest thing. That's a successful model, so why change it, right?
Right. Right. You can't argue with success. Right? Yes, Iris.
I'm going to add a little anecdotal note here. It's also mentoring. It's the mentoring he received as he was growing up and starting his business. And his mentor was Bill Hewlett.
Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up.
At age 12 with components that Steve needed to start trying to build personal computers in his basement.
Yes, yes. So mentoring is key, and I'm sure most of you know that. If you don't, you know, that would be a wonderful topic for another one of these sessions, is having really strong mentors that can help guide you, inform you, and keep you aligned, not only in your own personal individual alignment and career path, but as you start building your teams and your organizations. Right? Yes?
There's also a corporate culture, a belief system that's inherent in their employees.
Yes, I love that. So the culture is inherent with the employees. So that culture is a living, breathing organism. Even after he goes, it's a living, breathing organism. It's very similar to, in my years at HP, it was the HP way. The HP way was the culture. And even when Bill died and Dave died, that culture was pervasive. And Iris, I know you were there when I was there, it was pervasive. And you know, it was an unspoken rule. We kept each other accountable as HP employees to that HP way. You didn't have to have Big Daddy, you know, looking at you. You had other people that were on your level that were keeping you accountable to that culture. Right? Yes.
I'm going to be the naysayer a little bit.
Okay, do.
Around that.
Absolutely.
And just based on my experience and observations, it's sort of what you just described, right? That the culture stays intact for a while, but it doesn't stay intact forever without that founder and that leader. And so we've seen it happen with the HP way. I predict it would happen with Apple.
It may very well.
I think when founders leave,
Mm-hmm.
it will have to morph. And whether the new leader can keep it in some form of alignment to some new direction, I think is really questionable. I don't see many CEOs able to do that.
I think that's a very good point. And you know, speaking of that, you look at Walmart. You know, Sam Walton has been gone for, what, 10, 15 years now, if not longer. Have you all ever worked with Walmart? That happened when one of the positions I had at HP when I was there was running the western half of the United States for retail, and Iris remembers this. And this was before HP had any sort of presence with retail. And so breaking into JCPenney and Walmart and Home Depot that was my team's job. And working with Walmart was tough as nails. They buy and sell for a living, so negotiating with them is they're buying and selling for a living, right? But I will tell you, that culture is so powerful. I mean, they have these rules. They have one of their founding rules was the 10-step rule. Anytime an employee of any level is 10 steps away from a client or a customer, they are to go up to that customer and say, "May I help you?" Every employee does that still. I spoke at Walmart a couple of months ago, and it was amazing. They still do that. So to your point, absolutely, it's at risk when the founder dies or leaves. So it's really all about the processes that are put in place, how strong the culture is, and it can morph. And it can morph.
grooming the culture can change because each CEO is coming in with a different cultural perspective. There's no reason CEO.
Right. So, and that's a very interesting point. You know, another company up here is General Electric. You know, when Jack Welch left, he had groomed Jeff Immelt, who's the current CEO, to take over for him. And, you know, Jeff has done a tremendous job. They promote 95% of their top 100 leaders in the company are grown from within. 95%. It's like one of their critical success factors as a company is growing leadership from within. They don't pull people in like, you know, we do in the technology industry from Sun and Oracle and all these places that we pull them in. They really were ruthless about grooming their talent from within. Okay? Interesting benchmarks around the concept of alignment. That's the reason why I wanted to put these up there. There are companies that are aligned, and they do morph and change. You know, sometimes visions and cultures do change, but overall, these companies have stayed in alignment with each other. Whether they're a nonprofit, whether they're a for-profit, or whether they're a charitable organization like Rotary.